Hi everyone, my name is Charlie and today is the beginning of another reading vlog in another new second-hand shirt. They don't really go together, do they? New to me, but second-hand shirts. My manager put it aside and said it's exactly the sort of thing that Charlie wears. However, I look at it and think I look like my Auntie Hilda. She died in 2007, so basically what I'm saying is that I think I'm dressed like an 80-year-old woman today. No, I think she was 88. It's very difficult. Born 1919, died 2007. Somebody else do the maths for me. Okay, it's Monday morning. I can't be dealing with that. Saturday, I told you how we needed to have a really good day at the charity shop, and we did. We ended up making takings that previously we've only made on a night when we stay open for 2 hours extra at Christmas. So I am particularly thrilled, and I wish that we could carry that momentum through these first few days of the week, because I just want to prove to these people that it can be done. But as I told you on Saturday, I don't know how to properly get that, like I was guilting people into buying stuff on Saturday as well, say telling them I needed to hit my target. So if you do buy it, it's just £2 for you, but to the charity it means a lot. I did also talk about charging people entry fees to use the changing room, finder's fees for looking for other shoes for them. No takers so far. However, I still haven't finished reading The Trouble with Mrs Montgomery Hurst by Katy Lumsden, and still absolutely adore this book. Find it humorous. I find the characters that I'm supposed to hate, that I despise them with every fibre of my being. I've also started writing another book. I only finished the redraft of Mistakes Me in Murder on Thursday or Wednesday. I finished it at some point last week, and I wanted to do that because I wanted to try and get this book, a lot of it, done in August while I'm away from the writers group. But yeah, otherwise haven't really done much since last we spoke, apart from walk the dog. She actually met a dog that we've met before on the towpath yesterday, and they started playing with each other, and then the owner of the other dog says, "I'm sorry, but your dog's doing the bare minimum." And I said, "Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I have a really lazy dog." And she just started calling my dog lazy to my face. I was like, I know she is, but it's not nice when you say it. It has always been something I've wondered about, how this is supposed to be an incredibly excitable breed, yet both of the Jack Russells that I've owned, and I've wondered whether people have said it's because they're shorty Jack Russells. They're supposed to be full of energy, but both of mine have been incredibly placid. I am going to go and I'm going to have some coffee, and I'm going to try and make money for a charity. So I will see you when I see you. If you can see any mess behind you, just pretend that you can't. It is currently 5 o'clock on Wednesday, and I have yet to record the videos that I plan to record for today and Friday, and maybe even pre-record some videos so that I can get ahead of myself like I did earlier in the year. Tonight is Poems and Pints, and this morning I finished a poem for that, and then I was wondering what else to bring, and now I don't know whether to bring along some lyrics I wrote years ago, or whether to do a sustain
I wrote last year that I've never been able to share anywhere. I'm currently sat here because I received a message this morning to tell me that my parcel of proof copies was on its way here. I only ordered a few, one for myself, because I think that reading Mistakes Me Murder in a different format is going to be beneficial to the editing of it. And last night I began to wonder whether I'd edited a specific chapter, and if I haven't, then the continuity errors are going to be rife in that one. Certain people from the booktube community have stepped forward and become beta readers, but there's always room for other people if anyone wants to give their 10 penneth worth. So I felt like I couldn't really go and shower, because what if the Amazon man turned up? When my dad got home, I said, well, could you stay until I get back from walking Sal, because then at least the dogs got walked today. So luckily he did that, and that's happened, and now we're here. Yesterday I finished reading The Trouble with Mrs Montgomery Hurst by Katy Lumsden, and honestly the final 50 pages of that book made me feel so happy and so sad. I have really enjoyed my time in Wickenshire and with all of these characters in the little village of Melford, and learning more about Victorian society and the way it worked, and the class system and the way that worked. And oh my goodness, if Katy was trying to emulate Trollope, then she did it perfectly here, because the conversations about love and money and the way that they were into work, you know, was it more important to marry for love or money? It comes to the fore in Katy's book, but also she discusses it in a way that couldn't have been discussed in Victorian times, and really makes some great points about the way that the world operated back then in 1841. I knew that I was going to miss the characters immediately, because I feel like certain characters you can see yourself in, you can empathise with them, as I could with Amelia. And just the characters and the way that she's created them, it felt like the author knew the characters and that we were in capable hands with the story as well. And I was just so thrilled by the final of this book. So then I did a Wheel of Names thing and started reading The Three Dahlias by Katie Watson. This one I originally believed was set in the 1930s, but it's not. It is set in the 21st century, in the modern day. Three actresses who've all played this Dahlia character who was made famous by, was it Lettice? So Lettice Davenport, who was the Princess of Poisons to Agatha Christie's Queen of Mysteries. They really sought after Lettice Davenport's books about Dahlia, and now we have the three actresses who have all played her on screen coming to be part of this convention, and I'm guessing a murder's going to happen. At the moment there's at least three people I'm hoping it happens to, so if they all get written off page by the end of it, I'll be happy. Because I'm not particularly enjoying their presence. And also it's making me laugh because they're talking about the most recent adaptations of these books and how people didn't like the leaked script online, and it reminds me how I feel about Kenneth Branagh's Poirot. So there's that book. It's a nice, light-hearted, cosy mystery type thing that I enjoy reading at this time of year, although we could have done with some better weather for it. I think I'm going to try and hunker down and read some tomorrow, because the writing of this book, I made a mistake and I typed up everything I'd written, and I'd really hoped to have been writing 1,000 words a day, and I thought I was doing that because I've been writing reams and reams of pages every day for this new project. Well, it's not a new project, it's an old project that I've only just got around to, and I wanted to just write in August, and I'd only written 2,000 words, and I thought I'd written at least 6. I was a bit maudlin about that. I'm gonna have to go because I've set about making a cup of tea, and I've got to get tea made for everyone before I leave the house in an hour and a half, 4 poems of pints, having not recorded anything. Oh, this day, I'd like to say it got away from me, but it didn't get away from me. I did get stuff done. It's just, I'm annoyed because I didn't get those videos recorded, and that's what I've been doing every Wednesday for 32 weeks. I also really just wanted to show you the proofs, if I'm being honest. I wanted to show you what it looked like and give my first impressions. So you might see me tomorrow if I can do that. As I was walking out of the door to head to Poems and Pints last night, my parcel finally arrived. I should have guessed that that's the way things would go, because we always talk about sod's law in this household, and so I ended up taking this parcel with me to the event and just going to my table and opening them. Honestly, everything was just flung over my arm, coat over my arm, rucksack over my shoulders, and then this parcel. But I now have Mistakes Mean Murder. I am not sure how I feel about this cover next to the original. They never seem to have a standard cut, so it looks as though Mistakes Mean Murder is actually taller than An Heir to Murder, but they're both 5x8. So I don't understand that. I've never understood that when it comes to acquiring books from that house site, of which we don't like to discuss. Well, anyway, that's currently how they look. Mistakes Mean Murder is looking taller than An Heir to Murder, which annoys me and hopefully isn't going to be the way of things as we, in future. I'm not sure how I feel about the colours together. I'm not sure how I feel about having another green book, actually, but that's what we've got. So I have given my friend Joy a copy, and she's going to be one of my beta readers. I didn't think that she'd be able to, and then I showed her the book last night, and she's like, oh, so I can read it now. And I didn't realise that this is what was going to happen. I hadn't asked because I didn't just want to presume, and I know that she's actually trying to get her own work done on her novel, and I didn't want to force anything, but she's taken it. I don't know when I'll be seeing her again to get a response back, but I know she's going away to Greece. So, Alice might make it to Corfu. No. Corfu. Is it Corfu in Greece? I don't know. I've never been good at geography. I have started reading it again myself. I've read 70 pages and I'm noticing a few mistakes that I thought I'd rectified. So there is an instance in the second chapter where I've used the wrong spelling of mane to discuss hair. There are some places where words are included and then places where words are missing. I need to italicize the titles. And the reason that they've not been italicized is because they were in the original draft that I wrote up, but then I would write in one document and copy it into another one. And so when I was copying it over, those things everywhere that had been italicized got lost because I would copy it as plain text. So that was my mistake. Anyway, going through it, and so far I haven't seen any big continuity errors apart from one that I need to change, which is to do with a character called Dervla that is not important to this story and doesn't really come up at all, but I have got their mother wrong and I need to just change that. I've called her mother-in-law her mother anyway. Reading this at the moment, going through post-it notes, and I'll make those changes and hear back from some beta readers who are going to get copies as well and see how things go. I'm glad that it's here. I'm glad that it's here, even if it's taller than An Heir to Murder. I'm hoping, as I say, that that's not something that's going to continue, and it's just a mistake that they've made that would annoy me as a reader. Books are here, and we have more work to do. Today, I'm walking Sal and then going to meet a colleague at the pub through the park because she's never been, and her daughter lives nearby. So, yeah, I'll see thee tomorrow.
I was about to be upstaged by the half-price rail, so we had to do some manoeuvring. It's Friday, and there is an exceptionally large shirt here. It's so large I thought it was a dress. There's room for all sorts, I suppose. Anyway, the only thing I've been reading yesterday was Mistakes Mean Murder, and going through it and seeing everywhere that there should be italics. I talked about this yesterday, but the more I think about it, the more I see it. Also, despite the fact that she doesn't drink as much Pinot Grigio in this book, I mention it a lot. There's also a lot of coiling going on, so need to remove the word coil. Probably quite a few mentions of Pinot Grigio, and also, weirdly, bargain hunt. I mean, I know that there's a line in there that there's not much to do over 70 apart from watch Bargain Hunt, or between Bargain Hunt and Escape to the Country. I can't remember what it was, but I thought, honestly, I mentioned it quite a few times here. Also, yesterday, went to meet a colleague for drinks at the pub where we went for my birthday, and where me and my mother went last Tuesday when we walked Sal. This colleague's daughter lives up the road. Yeah, she's never been to this pub, so we went and we were there for 3.5 hours. We went for their burger night. Quite honestly, I was shocked by how much you got. So we left quite a bit on each plate, but also it got expensive. When it comes up on your phone, doesn't it, to tell you how much you've spent, and it says I spent £50.30. I was like, on one round of drinks and 2 burgers and chips, and then it was quite a bit of a, like, I was talking about, I don't know, soliciting just to pay for it. But also I think it's because I see that price and I remember being younger and able to go out as a family of 5 and dinner would be 40 quid for the 5 of you, and occasionally included dessert. So I was just shocked. Anyway, today I'm in work. I'm going to be asking my manager why sales were down yesterday. You know, we've got targets to hit, and she should be trying to hit them every day, really. Brought some books in to fill the shelves, which is a good thing. 50p sale is disappearing today. Books are going to be £1 again. Still cheap, still the cheapest place in this town that you can buy second-hand books. I'll see you tomorrow to round things off, and best get on with the day, really. It's Saturday, and we are back in the shirt we wore on Monday. And yes, I think it's still incredibly blousy, and every time I put it on, which is what, 3 times this week, I end up reminded of an elderly relative, usually female, definitely dead. So today I'm just here to round things off. I read another couple of chapters of the 3 Dahlias last night, or the 3 Dahlias, as the narrator of the audiobook called it. Quite honestly, I don't know whether it's one that I'm going to continue with. Now, I don't know whether this is because as we get through the majority of the books on my shelves, and I'm heading towards this point of having no books left read on my shelves, so I'm just trying to get through them so much quicker, and I'm thinking that it's already the 10th of August and I've only read 1 book this month. So I don't know whether that's one of the reasons why I am thinking about DNFing it, or whether I really just feel like this book is going to be a book that I maybe like, but I don't necessarily adore. I think that I always seem to have a problem with books where the creators have made their own celebrities, and so I am having to draw parallels to characters. So if we were going to look at the 3 Dahlias, or Dahlias, of Rosamond, Caro and Posy, you could probably look at them as a Margaret Rutherford, a Geraldine McEwen, and then Posy being such a young woman. If we were going to look at this in a Miss Marple fashion, then Posy would probably be when they were speculating that Jennifer Garner was going to take over the role in an American TV show based on Miss Marple, in which she would be a former FBI agent. I don't know whether it's just that I don't get on with the type of book where it's emulating a golden age crime in the modern day. I feel like I do find it a bit twee and overdone, and part of me also doesn't like the way that the writer writes about the fans of these books and makes them out to be somewhat predatory in the first few chapters. Everything feels somewhat contrived, and the characters feel like caricatures. I know, like, that's been something that people have said about my books in the past, and it does just feel like everybody's there to fulfill some role. Very stylistic of a certain type of cozy crime at the moment, and they all are beginning to blend into one for me. Like, this could easily be the Marlowe Murder Club with 3 women coming together to solve a crime. When I opened it up and I looked at the font, then it could easily have been a book that my mum got gifted last week, which was A Spoonful of Poison, and they all just have a trio of women, or a group of women, just who seemingly don't have anything in common, coming together and using their wherewithal to solve a crime. I have no problem with that. It's just, is it overdone? Is there a specific era of crime fiction that I prefer? Is there something more that I like in my crime fiction? Do I need a bit more bite than this? This has gone on for 60 pages so far. Actually, I think I'm further than 60 pages now, and we haven't got to the plot yet. And it feels very drawn out and unnecessary at this point, and it's taking a lot of time to establish everything, and I just don't care for it. But then I think, do I continue with it if I don't care for it, or do I go and try and find something else that I will prefer? It's the quandary that I am in today. My younger brother and one of my older brothers have both gone down to Dartmoor today to participate in the English National Sheepdog Trials. However, there have been some issues there, and so the first day a lot of things got put off because of fog, which meant that I think they only ran one dog on Thursday, and then everything got pushed back to yesterday, but they still had loads of dogs left over. And so my brother's going down today. He's supposed to be run 35, I think, which originally would have been about 5 o'clock this afternoon, and now he thinks that they're going to put in a really high standard so that if you don't meet that, you can just be called off the trial field immediately. I mean, it's all great stuff for me, because I do have a book planned in the Cozy Crime series called Murder That'll Do, and that is going to be about various scandals and murders taking place within the sheepdog trialling world. But the more and more that I hear about it, the more and more that I feel like we could write our own television drama about these people. But then I feel like that all the time, you know. I feel like it about the charity shop. In terms of the charity shop, yesterday I was talking to my manager. I saw a copy of Diary of a Bookseller, and I said, I feel like I should do this for a charity shop worker. She said, well, don't think about it, do it. I said, yeah, but I've got so much to do. But that's neither here nor there. We'll know by Monday whether I've decided to continue with the 3 Dahlias or not. I'll be disappointed if I don't like it, but it's just the way with certain crime fiction at the moment. You know, we all have our tastes and our wants when it comes to a certain genre, and if a book isn't meeting our likes, then why would we continue reading it? I don't know. But if you have read either of the books I've mentioned in this video, then please feel free to discuss them in the comments. What have you been reading this week? What have you been up to? If you can recommend me any crime fiction that emulates the golden age of crime well and doesn't make it feel twee and contrived, then also looking for recommendations on that regard. I'm considering, when I'm eventually getting books again, going to Tom Mead. But that's me. I hope that you have enjoyed this video, because until next time, that is all.